How's it going, everyone? Marriland here, and I'm back on the Hermitcraft Feed the Beast Monster server. And, yeah. Let's see, I'm really loving that door, but you know what? I showed off enough of it last episode, and it's really neat. Now, a few people have suggested some other alternatives to this, but you know what? Realistically, this works just fine for me, and I don't actually want this door to open unless you're in one of these spots. So, realistically, this doesn't require any power. It doesn't really require any infrastructure now. There are obviously a few other ways to do this, but I like these shrouded pressure plates and the redstone wire. That's just what I decided to go with. That's one cool thing about Minecraft is, you know, there's so many different ways to go about solving problems or accomplishing things, and that's just kind of how I chose to accomplish that thing. Now, I have a whole row of crafting stations set up here, and there's a good reason for that. You see, I really need to get some better armor, or just something. I mean, my goodness, I'm wearing diamond armor, and while, you know, that's great for vanilla, it's not all that great in Feed the Beast Monster. I went to the Nether a few times, and without flight, man, you just get wrecked there. So I need to finally invest in getting some Modular Powersuits armor. Now, this is pretty good armor, to say the least, but it can be very expensive and rather complicated to craft. You can look at it at first and think, oh, well, this isn't too bad. It takes some electronic circuits and some iron to make the helmet. Well, yeah, that's not too bad at first glance either. If you're into industrial craft. Now, I'm not really a big fan of industrial craft nowadays. They've changed so many of the recipes, so instead of needing like that refined iron that you needed way back in Ultimate, which is my favorite time for industrial craft, and Greg Tech even, now you have to make iron plates first, and in order to do that, you need this forge hammer thing, or metal formers, and these are kind of slow. It's like you need a really big infrastructure of stuff just to kind of make plates. Now, I don't really want to have to get into that, and the good news is I don't have to, because with at least if you're playing Feed the Beast Monster and with the default configs, there are alternate crafting recipes. Anything in this JSON shaped, that's for an alternative recipe. I think that uses thermal expansions recipes. The recipes may vary, but these are the two that are available to me playing in Feed the Beast Monster. So this is much easier to make, and it doesn't require those circuits. And let's face it, those are kind of a pain. They've always been a pain. Instead, you need this wiring stuff. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire crafting process, but I do want to explain a lot of this, simply because there are ways to optimize how you're going to craft this. So you need gold cable and some redstone for this. The gold cable you can get by using these cutters on gold plates. This is industrial craft. There is another recipe, and I'll show you that as well. And that's going to make 4 gold cables. You can also use a metal former. And if you have an industrial craft setup, it should be much easier for you. But I don't, and I'm not really interested in that. The cutter, we're going to need one of these. This requires 3 iron plates and 2 iron ingots. Also, if you're lazy, you can make iron plates just by crafting 4 iron together. But realistically, you're probably better off just using the forge hammer. Which, let me see if I can find that quick. It's not like it's that expensive. It's just it eats up iron, and it only has 80 uses. So I'm figuring I'll have to make about 3 of these in order to get all the stuff that I want. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else to explain here. Definitely be mindful of how to make things. This is an alternative. You could make it with silver ingots and copper, but you know what? That's going to end up taking a lot if I want to make everything. And I'm going to need to make a lot. Now, I've talked for a bit. Let me actually show you kind of how this stuff works. So, to get started, you need to make this power armor tinker table. You can do this either with electronic circuit and basic machine casing. I'm just going to do a transmission coil, machine frame, Electrum ingots, and an emerald. So I'm going to go ahead and craft that up, and I'm going to craft a set of this power armor as well. So I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so there are a few things more boring than watching someone craft all this power stuff, particularly without applied energistics going. Oh man, it's such a pain. So I went ahead and made this power armor tinker table, as well as the power armor, the full set here. So I did need to make the cutter and the forge hammer, but I already showed you those. It's just rather basic crafting recipes, really. And I just made these gold cables. Now, I went ahead and I made an additional 147 gold plates. You're going to need this number if you're going to have a setup like mine. On top of that, you're going to want to make sure you have, and I don't have this all here right yet, but you need, I think, 322 iron, 54 copper, 12 Electrum, and that's on top of the machine frame. Like, this is assuming after you've gotten this set up. I was trying to write all this down so it'd be easier. 408 Redstone, 35 Lapis, 48 Glowstone, 68 Ender Pearls. So that's going to kind of be a pain. Now, I already made 4 of them into Eyes of Ender, so that's actually what you really need. So 64 here and then 4 there. So yeah, if you don't have access to the end, it might be a little tricky to get all that. And then 109 rubber and 29 glass. So if you got that stuff, should be able to follow along with this video. Now, when you click this thing, something kind of pops up. Now let me actually take off my armor and wear this. First of all, doesn't that look cool? It's pretty high-tech, really. You can customize it by quite a lot, which is cool. You also may notice I have some power on the side. See, it says 140K over on the right side. I think that's actually adding up the power of all my tools. It can use that as power. Now, that 140K, that's actually an MJ, or what is it? Minecraft Joules, I think? I don't know. It's either Minecraft Joules or Mega Joules. I know they're actually two different things, because there is something that uses joules properly, and then there's the Minecraft version. So you click on these things here in the power, what is this thing called? The Power Armor Tinker Table. And you actually get all these different options. Now, in case you missed it, this is called the Modular Powersuits mod, meaning you can add different modules to your power armor, which is really convenient. And there's a lot of different stuff you can add. Now, some of this was added through an add-on thing. I think it's PowerSuits add-on or something along those lines. So that's where you get like the solar generator and quite a few other things. And it does break it up into different kind of categories, which is cool. There is also a tool that you can make, the Power Glove thing, which has nothing to do with Nintendo, don't worry. Yeah, but as you can see, there's a lot of stuff. So I'm not going to show you all of this because, you know, I'm kind of just getting started with it myself. But the things you want to keep in mind and the things that I'm going to try to get are these energy shields, because they are very lightweight. In fact, I don't think they add anything to your weight, which is really important in this. But they protect you. They use actually your stored energy to absorb damage, which is very nice. Batteries, obviously helpful, but not actually necessary. And I'll explain that as I get further on. I'll still want to have one battery in my suit, though. Now, solar generator, that's super helpful. It will let you charge in the sunlight, and actually I think even at night too. So that's super useful. Now this all goes on the helmet, and you'll also want this flight control thing. So as you can see, there's actually a lot of stuff. This is the big one. This costs a lot. It takes 4 ion thrusters. Those are not cheap. In fact, actually, you see, you can't really do anything right now because you need to have the materials in your inventory in order to install those different modules. I don't have any of these right now, so there's not really a lot I can do other than just show you. But that's what I'm going to build some stuff with, and that's why I have to figure out, all right, what the heck do I need? And that list of items I just kind of explained to you, yeah, that's kind of what I need. Now, really quick, you can press, well, it's actually P by default. Let's just take a look in the controls here. You can obviously set a lot of these things to your liking. Now, I have the cosmetic thing set to P. I think that's default. And then zoom. This is, I'm trying to think what that is. Go down. This one by default is, I think, Z, but that conflicts with my my map thing, so I had to change that. It's for left control. That's actually how you lower when you're flying, because you can't just hold shift. It's not quite like creative, so just kind of take my word on that. But anyway, if you go press P here, you can actually adjust various parts of the armor. For instance, you can turn on different parts here. I don't actually know what this blue one is, what the difference is, but it's kind of neat. You can also add different colors. There's white and blue by default, but you can add another color. So for instance, I could have a nice kind of orange thing. Let's see. Could be kind of neat. Maybe a yellow. And these kind of stick with the color scheme. So see, you can change the helmet to be like orange or yellow. And if you press F5, what happened to my face? But it's kind of fun. I mean, there's a lot you can customize here. But on top of that, you can also just turn everything off, and it looks like you're not wearing any armor, which can be kind of neat. You don't get to see your skins often enough. Anyway, that was just one of the important things that I needed to show before I start making all of these different add-ons. I'm not going to go through the entire process. However, I do want to show you a few key things for the crafting recipes, okay? Because some recipes are more convenient than others. The ion thruster. This is the industrial craft method, and it's, I mean, again, mind you, this is coming from someone who's not into industrial craft right now. I'm trying to avoid it whenever possible. So in this case, I'd be much better off using this Invar ingot and wiring kind of thing. It's so much more convenient. So I'll just go with that. Really no problem. However, the force field emitter. This is something that at first glance you think, oh my goodness, advanced circuit, that's always a pain to do, solenoids. But then you look over at the thermal expansion recipes, and it requires solenoids, wiring, and a full tesseract frame. Now, in order to make this, you're going to need 1,000 millibuckets of resonant ender. So that's 4 ender pearls right there. On top of that, you need the tesseract frame, which is going to take 4 enderium ingots, a whole bunch of, well, any sort of hardened glass, and a diamond. Now, you're going to need to make a lot of those things. So what I actually recommend doing for making your force field emitters, I think I figured for this recipe, or this design I'm going to do, I need 16 of these total. 8 for stuff, and then 8 for the iron thrusters. So I'm actually going to be better off using the advanced circuits. And there are a few ways to make these. Again, I don't mean to spend too much time in crafting recipes, but I'm trying to save you the most hassle and just kind of show you the best ways to make these if you're lazy like me. So you need redstone, lapis, glowstone. It's nothing too much, but there's actually 2 different ways to have that center item. You can either have an electronic circuit, which is industrial craft, or a basic circuit, which is, what is that? The calclavia core? This is less kind of grindy, but at the same time, it needs a lot of these redstone comparators, as well as a bronze plate. You can make a bronze plate just by taking 4 bronze together, or you can do the whole plate thing, and that kind of does the same. Like this thing, you use the hammer on some bronze. So that's going to take a lot of stuff. However, what was I going to show you? The electronic circuit, realistically, this is what I'm going to go with. It's going to be a hassle getting all of this rubber and using the wire cutters and the hammers, but in the big picture, it's going to save me a lot of resources. So that's what I recommend doing, even if you're not in favor of industrial craft, simply because it does help with the resources. That was one of the things that I really had to give a lot of thought to, because this is just so ridiculous. I'd rather have 16 tesseracts sitting around than put them on my armor, because they're really expensive to make. Whereas the advanced circuit, it's a pain to make, but it's not really that expensive. Solenoids, by the way, I don't think I showed how to make these. You can just take basic machine casing, but that's going to take 8 iron and only give you 1. Whereas you can just take 3 iron, add up more wiring, I guess. This is the recipe I'll be using because it's more convenient. You'll need a lot of these solenoids. In fact, you're going to need 90 solenoids for the recipe I'm kind of doing. And you're going to need a total of 590 wiring. Yeah, that's a lot. Now, that does include the solenoids, because remember, you need the wiring in the solenoids, but you're going to need a lot of that. You're also going to need servo motors, and I'm using this recipe just with pneumatic servos. It's easier that way. Also going to need an HV capacitor. I don't think I have this listed in the, my little cheat sheet of how much everything's going to cost, but it just uses a full redstone energy cell frame. So it's going to take quite a bit of redstone, but it's not that bad. It's not like a tesseract frame. The only other thing I can think of that's going to be a pain is this control circuit. There are several recipes. The electronic circuits aren't necessarily that bad, but this, the JSON-shaped one, the one with the, I think thermal expansion, I'm just going to go with that. It's a little bit friendlier. It costs more glowstone, but big deal. Big deal. And then last but not least, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be spending all my time in here, but this is a huge thing. It's probably going to take me an hour or two to craft all this junk. The solar panel. This is used for your solar panel thingy. There's really no way to get around this. There's no JSON-shaped thing. There's no thermal expansion thing. It's just, all right, got to make a generator, got to make electronic circuits, and the generator needs a lot of these iron plates as well as a battery and an iron furnace. Ignore this recipe. It doesn't seem to work, obviously. And yeah, this is why I hate industrial craft nowadays. It's just so tedious. There's like no reason why I have to make all these machines or waste all of this stuff on hammers just to make things. I don't like it. That's why I'm going to try to avoid it. Anyway, I do apologize for all that. I'm going to just go ahead and try and craft as much of that stuff as possible. And yeah, I will see you in a moment. Whew. Okay, so I think I have everything crafted. Surely I'm forgetting something. I may be slightly off on the numbers for how much this took. I know I listed some numbers earlier on, but you know what? I keep forgetting how much iron has to go into the forge hammer and then the cutter and all that kind of stuff. But it should at least give you an idea of how much it takes in order to make this. And you know what? If you just have an idea, that's fine. Okay, so I needed some wool as well. Now, let me go ahead and take all of this stuff and we're going to play around with it. So I'm going to ditch this stuff for right now because I don't think we really need it anymore. Whoops, wait, where are my boots? All right, there we go. Okay, so let me put this on and then let's take all of our little components here. Oh my goodness, these ion thrusters are a pain. Actually, the solar panel was a really big pain too. Okay, but you know what? I did a lot of preparation for this. Oh, and you know what? I know what I'm forgetting. I don't have a battery, but there is a way around this, and it's actually kind of neat. Okay, so now there are so many different options here, and cool as they are, you can play around with them, at your leisure, but this is what I'm going to do. So I recommend just kind of following this. First and foremost, get that jetpack. 4 ion thrusters, so it is not cheap, but it's so cool. I also recommend just pushing the thrust all the way up to the maximum. This will use up 150 joules per tick, and that's the units they use there. Now, on top of that, I also want to make sure you include flight control. This takes one of the control circuits. And am I flying? There we go. Okay, so you can actually bind your keys to reflect this. Now, I already had those bound because I was using creative to kind of figure out what I wanted out of my module suit. And if you want to change your thing, go to the controls here, and whatever it says here for OpenMPS keybind GUI. In this case, it's K for me. So what is this? What the heck is this? Okay, so it may very well start with some stuff off on the side and then just kind of something, actually probably nothing here. So click New, and then it'll ask you to press a key. So I'm going to press F. All right, now whenever I press the F key, it will toggle anything that you link to it. So in this case, by dragging it over there, so there's that line on it, I'm actually linking these two to the F key, which is pretty cool. So in this case, I don't get to fly. I don't double jump and then fly like in, well, with, I don't know what, but with a variety of things, jetpacks and other stuff. Instead, I have to press whatever key I bound it to. Woo! Look at me go. Oh man, this is pretty cool. I don't really have a lot of power right now, so I don't want to fly around like a crazy person. But that's fine. I do have the jetpack and the flight control. And I'll show you more about the flight control in a moment. Now, definitely want to install, ooh, you know what, the solar generator. This will really help. And I think I have the stuff for the kinetic generator. That's really important too. Let's go with the solar generator. And that'll just passively generate some power for you, which is really cool. On top of that, I want to add energy shields. Now this is going to take the force field emitters. They're not exactly the cheapest thing in the world. Those are the things that could use the tesseracts, but they're not too bad. I also recommend maxing these, so that way you'll have so much damage resistance, you won't even know what to do with it. The nice thing about the energy shields, they are entirely weightless. What's really important, as you add things to this, some modules will add weight. You need to make sure that your weight across all of your parts here is below 25 kilograms. If it's more than 25 kilograms, or 25 kilograms or more, I guess, then it will really mess you up because you'll be really slow. It can't handle all that weight. But that's not really a problem with this setup. So we'll go ahead and set up all this armor here. That's why I'm using the energy shields. You could use diamond plating if you'd rather, but I don't know. Wait, I don't have diamond plating. That's kind of weird. Why is there an install? Oh, well. Okay, so that takes care of the armor. You can also hold shift in to see what you have. And that gives me control circuits and servo motors left, which is fine. So the kinetic generator, this is really nice because it will actually generate power as you walk. Now you can increase this thing here, and that actually increases your weight. See, now I'm up to 4 kilograms. But you get more joules, which is the power thing, based on how powerful this is. So it's definitely recommended to have that maxed because you'll get a lot of power that way. There are also some really nice little movement things here. The sprint assist, that lets you sprint and go a lot faster. I'm just going to max everything here because I like to go really fast when I sprint. Jump assist is kind of fun. That lets you jump really high. Swim boost is cool, but it takes an ion thruster, and I don't really feel like making one of those again, so I'm going to skip it for now. It's pretty nice, though. And then uphill step assist is also pretty cool. It lets you walk up little 1 block high things, and it's pretty awesome, actually. Last but not least, there's this cooling system. Actually, I think there's one other thing. Yeah, for the boots. So there's a shock absorber. This is very nice. Servo motor and some wool. Am I out of servo motors? How's that? I bet you I didn't have the kinetic generator set. Whoops. Oh, well, I'll make another. But, let's see. Or do I have the wool? Maybe I don't have that. Yeah, I guess I only have 1 servo. I was off by a little bit, but it's okay. There was a lot of crafting. You can't really blame me. Alright, so another really nice thing to have is this cooling system. It takes 4 Eye of Ender and then a control circuit, but it does cool you down pretty good. Now, I guess I could max it. I don't know if that's going to constantly use power or not. And then there's the issue of, well, what do I do for power? Because I kind of don't have any batteries in here. Now, obviously, the logical choice would be to put some batteries in. This HV capacitor, definitely want to go with the strongest one available. I mean, I guess... Actually, this is super cheap. Wiring, redstone energy conduit. Or just even an LV capacitor if you just want... Wow, paper, gold, and silver. It's not going to give you a lot of power, but realistically, there's a super awesome way around this, and you're always better off having the elite one if you can get it. I just have to make one of these, and I haven't gotten my fluid transposer and my alloy smelter or whatever set up yet, so yeah, just a little bit, nothing you need to worry about, but there's a cool way you can actually get some power. So notice I have 137K, right? Well, where's that coming from anyway? It's coming from my tools, but I can actually take energy cells. You can just take them with you, and they actually will serve as a power source as long as it's in your inventory. So it's actually charging my tools as I'm walking around right now, thanks to my kinetic generator, which is super handy, by the way. See, it's just you get so much. I also have the solar thing going, which is nice, and I don't even have a battery installed, which is kind of cool. Now, the downside is you have to keep your energy cell with you at all times. I think you can also use the flux capacitors if you want, but I don't really know why you need to. I just take an energy cell. It's easy to recharge that way. And it doesn't add any weight, which is nice because the elite batteries, they actually add weight to your thing once you got it going on. Now, I'm definitely going to add an elite battery, but just for right now, since I don't want to waste any more time on, getting that stuff going. Let's see. I want to fly. So I can double tap to run, which is cool. I can jump pretty high and die really well too. How on earth? What the heck? That was the most anticlimactic death ever. Like, did you see that? What actually happened? I don't even... What is this? I don't even. Because I had the shock absorption. How on earth did that happen? I'm genuinely confused now. That's so weird. How did I die? Oh, I feel like I'm going so slow. Alright, let me pick up all my stuff. Jeez. What the heck happened? Oh, the only thing I can think of is maybe because I don't have any energy at all on my boots? I really don't know. Alright. Oops, let me shift and then break that. What's this thing? Alright, so... get all my stuff. How did that even happen? I'm so confused right now. Generally it works just fine. As you can see. Or not. Okay, definitely need to look into that. I bet you it'll be solved if I have a battery. I know that the energy cell thing is just a little, not cheaty, but it's kind of cheap. Which is nice. No problems there. Oh, alright, let me get this all figured out, and then I will see you in a moment. Oh yeah, that's right. I needed another servo motor that I totally forgot. Still, it seemed like I died pretty quickly. I think it must do something kind of weird. Let me go ahead and make that servo motor quick, and then I'll be good to go, because I still have one. I just needed two. Alright, I'm going to do that quick, and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, I got it all fixed now. These shock absorbers, as you can see, are super handy. Definitely want to have those. Now, hopefully I won't die when I jump up really high. Because I just want to fly around, darn it. Alright, here goes. Alright, there we go. Now, it does consume some power when you land, but it's not generally too much of an issue. As you can see, I have no problem keeping up with just general power usage. I can run around really easily here. Woo! Look at me go. I love it. Now I'm just walking normal, believe it or not. This is me sprinting. Now that's actually because I have the this crystal pendant thing. See, this is me walking normal without the haste effect, which is actually pretty good. And if I sprint, I go more than fast enough, so I might not even need that haste. I just like it. I like to go fast. Okay, so that's cool. But what about the flight, right? Now, one thing that's really important to remember is flight is rather different when you're dealing with the modular Powersuits. I'm not flying right now. I'm jumping. When you're flying, and I have that bound to F, so I press F, and then I get a fly. So, woo, this is so fun. I can go up by pressing space, and I cannot go down. Whoops. You know what? That's what happens when I press shift like 5 times. It activates that sticky keys thing. I'm not going to use that. Come on. How on earth do you go down, though? Like, I'm pressing shift, and it doesn't work. What you do is, there's another key that you actually have to bind it to. And you don't bind it through pressing K. You actually have to go over here, and whatever this go down thing is set to. By default, it's set to Z. I know I said this earlier, but now seems like a good time to repeat it. I set it to L control. So basically what that means is, when I press F, I get to activate flight, and then in order to go down, rather than pressing shift like I would normally do, I press control and I go down instead. And that works. Why don't you just set it to shift, you might ask? And you can do that if you want. Like, for instance, I can go ahead and set this to shift instead, and then I do fall. The reason for this is it actually has to do with this thing, the Power Fist. In order to change its mode, and I'm not going to make one of these because I don't really feel like the tools. I just wanted flight and good protection. But you actually have to sneak and use your mouse wheel to change the tools. Well, that means if you're holding in shift to sneak, it just doesn't work. It's like it conflicts for some reason. So that's why I just go and I set it to something else just to make sure that, you know, it's not going to interfere with that, because those are actually pretty cool. Now, I wish I knew how to turn off the sound for this. I know that there is a way. I just don't remember what it is. I mean, obviously sound will do it, but that turns everything down. But you know what? If you know, let me know. That's fine. I haven't played around with the Powersuits too much, which is neat. They're kind of overpowered, but at the same time, they're pretty cool. Now, I should probably go try fight something, so let's see. What would be a good place to go to fight? Obviously, there's the Nether. Yeah, I might just go there. Let me leave some of my better stuff at home, though. I'm just going to drop all that there. I don't want my pendant in. Okay, and I do have this hardened energy cell. It's an energy shell. Yep. Okay, let me get some tools. And I should be good to go. Don't want to bring the pendants because that would be bad. Oh, bow and arrow. Good call. Now, there are some really cool weapons you can get if you get that power tool. But they do add some... actually, I don't know if they add weight, but I know that they require some stuff to make. So, I just don't really feel like it right now. Anyway, let me go to the Nether and let's try this out. Alright, so I'm over in the Nether base, which is really cool, by the way. Really like how it's been coming along. Look at all those wither skulls. Oh, man. I've been meaning to do kind of another... Oh, whoops. Another exploration episode for a while, but it's really darn tough, actually. Because there are so many really nasty mobs around. It's just... Oh, it's so crazy in Monster. But now that I can fly, it should be a little bit more reasonable. So there's this pinky thing. And, wow, that thing took 22 damage. It actually likes to attack other mobs as well. Oh, there's these things that fly at you. And I'm just going to let it hit me. So notice how it's draining my power. So that's not too bad. In fact, I'm even gaining some power, which is interesting. this thing is not exactly the most heat-proof thing in the world. Oh, yeah. Well, the good news is I'm handling these things. They get really vicious, though. I mean, ideally, you would take them out with a bow or let them fight other things, but since I just wanted to demonstrate the power armor, it works. That's a good thing. I think you can fly in lava with it, but I also think you should be very careful in doing so, because you may notice that there is a little bar over on the side. And I think I'm going to take this cobalt. There is another little bar right next to the how much power you have. That's actually your heat. Now, it's really important to be mindful of... Ooh, where's that ghast at? Oh, there's one of those cacodemon things. These things are pretty nasty because they shoot stuff all over, and they can be a pain to get to. They're usually not up in the air, though. What do we have going on there? Huh. And these things are just really annoying. But yeah, you have to watch out for that heat, because if it gets too hot, then you're going to overheat and start taking damage. So really gotta watch out for that. In fact, let me just... Hopefully this isn't a mistake. Ow! See, it's starting to increase. Now, because of the settings I have, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But it's definitely something you really want to be mindful of, that you don't get that thing too hot. That's why I have that cooling system in place to help prevent that. Come at me. I love being able to fly. It's just going to take a little bit to get used to the controls. But, you know, all in all, not too bad. And the kinetic generator is just great. You get to run around. And as you can see, with the kinetic generator and the solar thing, you generally have more than enough energy. Like, you don't need... Oops. You don't need batteries left and right. That actually doesn't really help all that much. Oh, there's a belth. That's where all these... I think these are where the green flames are coming from. No, maybe not. I think those are behemoths. I love how they sound. Oh, yeah. These are those Lycanite mobs. They're really kind of intense. They do not make the Nether all that fun. Well, okay, let me take that back. They make it fun, if you know what I mean. Oh, yeah. Well, so much nicer to go through here now that I have the power armor. Oh, yeah, it's so cool. And there's a lot more I can do to it, too. Like, I can add the battery. I can add all sorts of stuff, really. Woo, let's go. Goes super fast. Be very considerate if you're on a server and there are other people on, because you know what? It can be kind of rude if you're going like really fast, zooming through everything. I'm the only one on right now, but that's definitely something to, you know, just be considerate of, because it goes really fast. All right, well, you know what? I think hopefully this accomplished enough. I know it wasn't like a whatchamacallit, mod spotlight kind of thing, but hopefully I at least showed you how to get the setup that I have right now and roughly how much material is involved in order to get it. Oh, and remember, you can press that P key over there or whatever it's bound to and just see if I wanted to have cool shoes. I can have some cool shoes. I don't know. It's kind of neat. You can do with it as you please, which is actually kind of fun. But anyway, I think that's a good spot to end things off here. So I will see you in the next episode of Marriland's Hermitcraft Feed the Beast Adventure. Oh, see you next time, everyone. Woo!